Good morning, yogis. Thank you so much for joining me today to do some yoga. If you happen to have a blanket, yoga blanket or otherwise, or a large beach towel works great, handy. It will be really nice for our class this morning. There'll be a couple of poses where we will use our blankets to stretch out our shoulders and our upper backs. I got a request this morning for class, which was fantastic and inspiring. We're going to do some yoga for our backs and specifically for our upper backs and our shoulders. So freeing up the whole upper body so that you feel like you can breathe a little bit deeper, you feel like you can sit a little more upright, and you can go through your day with some better posture. So if you do happen to have a blanket, go ahead and grab that blanket or towel, whatever you're using, and you want to create a little roll that is at least the width of the short edge of your mat. It doesn't have to be a super firm roll, excuse me, that was hard to say, but you want it to be firm enough that when you lie on it, you've got at least an inch or two off of the ground. If you don't have a blanket, you can also take your yoga mat and roll it up and lie over your yoga mat for this first part, and then just unroll your yoga mat to practice on in a little bit here. So you'll want your roll at the back of your mat. We're going to start with a little restorative heart opener and just gently start to stretch the muscles at the front of our chest, our pectoral muscles, all of these muscles in our neck and our shoulders and our upper back. We'll start a little more gently. We'll get that restorative opening, and then we'll move into some more dynamic openers this morning. When you're ready, go ahead and lie yourself down. You want, as you lie on that roll, that the base of your shoulder blades is at the bottom of the roll. When you lie back, you might have to kind of wiggle around a little bit to find that spot right at the bottom of your shoulder blades. And then you lie yourself all the way back. And if you lie back and it feels like, oh my gosh, my head is so far from the floor, and that is uncomfortable to you, you could always place another little folded blanket or a yoga block underneath your head, or you can just unroll your roll a little bit so it's a little bit lower. Stretch your arms out to the side if you can, palms maybe even facing the ceiling. You could tent your knees, or you could extend your legs, see what feels comfortable to your body. And just allow this support to let you stretch really gently. So you just start to feel as you breathe in that the muscles between your ribs begin to expand a little bit. And you find that as you breathe out, you can kind of relax onto this roll. And we're just going to stay here for another few minutes, so ensure that you feel that that is possible for you this morning. Make any adjustments that you need to make. And as usual, I've given us like a time that we're going to stay. We're staying for about 3 minutes total, but you don't have to stay that whole time if it doesn't feel right. You can always remove yourself from this pose whenever you want and simply lie flat on your back. Remember that this is your yoga. You are the ultimate teacher. You are in your body every day. You know. Your body knows what is appropriate for you. We'll make suggestions based on muscle groups or areas of the body or things that might feel good. But it is always your choice to follow those suggestions or not. here in this pose. Take another 3 deep breaths here. The end of the 3rd deep breath. Blink your eyes open if they're closed. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Draw the soles of your feet in so your knees point up to the ceiling. And then maybe rock your knees a little bit from right to left like windshield wipers. Once you're ready, you can rock your knees all the way over to whichever side feels more comfortable. Roll yourself all the way over to that side and then press yourself up to seated. And here, just come to seated. Any orientation on your mat. You can even sit on your roll if you want. Comfortable seated position, doesn't matter what it looks like. Bring your hands palm down somewhere on your thighs, your legs, and just close your eyes and focus your attention on your shoulders. And see if you can feel your shoulders descending, your shoulder blades descending towards the floor. You can feel the heads of your shoulders pulling lightly back towards the space behind you. So the center of your chest again opens up, your collarbones start to broaden. As you breathe in, you can feel the wall of your chest expanding. And as you breathe out again, you can feel the shoulder blades settling. And it's like you're trying to take your shoulder blades, match my hands or your shoulder blades, and you're just trying to set them against the wall of the muscles of your back. So they're not kind of lifted up as if you were hunched forward. They're not flared into the rib cage. They're not pushing forward. And they are not kind of slumping down. They're not doing this kind of wing thing here. They are just setting very nicely against the muscles of your back. Like you are hanging the picture frame of your shoulder blades against the wall of your back. And take a few breaths there and just experience how tall you feel, how straight this posture feels. You may notice that other areas of your body engage a little bit here. I find my abdominals automatically engage as I bring my shoulders down and back. My abdominal muscles start to wrap in and hold me a little bit taller. It's like once you bring your shoulders back, your whole body responds in kindness. Says, oh yeah, this is good. We're tall. We're strong. Maybe your chin lifts a little bit and the crown of your head starts to feel lighter towards the ceiling. And sometimes your whole attitude can change when you change your posture. And you can breathe deeply and stand, or in this case, sit tall. Everything feels a little bit different. Class today is just going to be about keeping and fostering the condition that we're in right now, the space that we're in right now, having the shoulders be strong and stable, having the abdominals be lightly engaged, having this straight, tall, strong posture here. So everything we're going to do is just to help us build this as a normal state for our bodies. When you're ready, blink your eyes open, reach both of your arms up over your head. Let your palms face forward in front of you. Inhale here, and then as you exhale, you're going to turn both of your palms to face towards your left and lean to your left. Your left hand can come to the floor, or you could use a prop here, and your right hand kind of stretches over your head till you feel the right side of your body beginning to open. Again, take your shoulder blades onto your back. If you like, you can look up. And just spend a few breaths here. Focus on taking the shoulder blades again down towards the hips. So they're not up by your ears. There's lots of space here at the side of your neck. Inhale here. This is a little bit funky. As you exhale, you're going to take this top arm, you're going to fold down into a little bit of a side reach. You might not be able to stay with your left hand quite as far over as it is. It's fine if you walk your hands a little more forward, but you want to be reaching a little bit over to your left in this side bend. If you need to change how you are sitting, please don't hesitate to do so. And you still want to feel the right side of your torso, but now maybe you feel a little more onto the back of the rib cage. Bow your head down. Chin can come a little towards the chest, so the back of your neck is also experiencing space and length. And then wander your fingertips all the way straight in front of you. Stay in your forward fold. You might find that you have more space here and you come a little closer to the floor. Or you might find the opposite, that you walk your hands a little in towards you. Again, it's not so important how far forward you go. It's important that you don't do this. You don't hunch up. Your shoulder blades continue to move towards the hips, even as your fingertips perhaps come further forward. Your tailbone is heavy towards the floor. You inhale, you're going to walk your fingertips back in towards you. We'll go to the other side. If you want to switch up your seat, I always like to switch the crossing of my legs just so I feel like I'm getting a little bit on both hips. Go ahead. Reach both of your arms up, your palms face forward towards the front of your body. And then your palms face over towards the right, just as much as you can, getting some rotation there. And you drop the right hand down. You can always use a block or a book if the floor feels far, far away, or rest your hand on your folded up blanket or rolled up mat. And again, as you come here, you get into this pose and then you shrug your shoulders down. Maybe you pull your shoulder blades onto your back. So the shoulder blades go from kind of swooping forwards a little bit as we bend over to the side. We compensate and then they come back onto the back. Pull the arm back towards the ear. And you can feel free to look up if that feels good. But you can equally well look down towards the floor or towards the center line. Feel the left side of your torso opening up. Stretching all those lovely rib cage muscles. You know, it's not a group of muscles, the intercostals, those rib cage muscles that we talk about. There's no intercostals of steel or, you know, workouts for sexy intercostals, but they're really important muscles, especially for our posture and our breathing. We'll fold a little bit down towards the right. You want to stay reached over to the right. It doesn't have to be quite as far as your right hand maybe is. I like to go more in front of my knee somewhere as I come over to the side. So now you feel that same stretch along the left side of the torso, but now also into the back and the space around your shoulder blade on the left side. Let your neck get into this, chin towards the chest if you can. Just breathe deeply into this. Each deep breath, you can feel those muscles stretching a little bit more. When you walk your fingertips towards the center line, you find your forward fold again. And remember, it's not how far forward you go that's important. It's that you are, again, taking the shoulder blades onto the back as you fold. So you're keeping the space at the center of the chest open, even as you fold forward. There's no hunching going on. Let your tailbone be heavy back behind you, so you're not lifting your butt in an effort to crawl further forward. Your butt stays glued to the floor. It's okay if there's a bit of roundness in your spine, if that's appropriate for your body. When you're ready, you're going to walk your fingertips in towards you, coming back to seated. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. Again, take them onto your back. You might bring your hands again to rest down. And you're just going to take 3 deep breaths again, seeing if you can find that tall, straight posture. Shoulder blades relaxed. Abdominal muscles lightly engaged. It's not like you're doing a crunch. They're not pulling you forward. They're just firming in gently to support this action. At the end of your third breath, you're going to make your way to the front of your mat. And you're going to come to standing at the front of your mat. If you want to use your blanket as a cushion underneath your knees, you can just set it over to the side. And then as you come to standing at the front of your mat, we're going to do that same thing. We're just going to set up our tall, straight posture, but now standing. So keep a little softness in your knees. Your feet are a comfortable distance apart for your body. Take a moment to get a little bit acclimated there, moving around, wiggling your toes, especially if you're sitting on your foot. It might feel a little squished right now, so unsquish your foot. And then roll your shoulder blades back. Let them drop down so they're sitting nicely against the back. You might turn your palms now to face lightly forward. That helps to just bring those shoulder blades onto the back. And again, you feel that as you do that, everything else in your body kind of responds. Your thigh muscles engage, your belly muscles engage. You feel that you're growing literally taller towards the ceiling. And you take a few deep breaths here. The next deep breath, blink your eyes open. If you close them, reach your arms up over your head. Think about having your hands about shoulder distance apart. You can look up at them. The palms are facing one another to start with. Reach up as you inhale. As you exhale, you're going to turn your palms to face again over towards the left side and then lean to your right. So it's just a little variation on this side bend. You can keep both of your hands up, or you can drop your left hand to your left thigh. See what feels appropriate to you. Relax your shoulders. Now feel that stretch a little deeper into the hips. Inhale, come back to center. Bring your left palm to face your right palm. Turn both of your palms now to face towards the right side. You get a little rotation in your wrist. And then lean over. And you can keep both of your hands up. You get a little extra work there. Or if your shoulders, my shoulder feels kind of crunchy in there, so I want to drop my right hand to my right thigh so I can really relax my right shoulder. More important to relax the shoulder than to keep the arm up today. If you like, again, you can look up. You feel that left side just getting so nice and open. As you inhale, you come back to center. The right palm turns to face the left palm. As you exhale, press the palms of the hands together, fold forward. Everybody rest your forearms on your thighs, at least for a moment, so you can really get the feeling of sticking your buns out behind you. You're in this kind of downhill skiing position. Give your butt even maybe a little wiggle as you stick it out behind you. And then imagine here that between your belly and your thighs, a little beach ball has appeared. Just like a little small, you know, those soft rolling balls that you get at the gym. They're kind of squashy and they're inflated with just with air, but they're very soft. So when you sit on them, they turn into like a pancake, big fat pancake. That's what's appeared right there in your belly. And then what you want to do is reach yourself up and over that to come forwards. And it's okay if you squish that ball and you actually bring your belly and your thighs to touch, that's fine. But you want to keep reaching up and over, so there's lots of space here in your lower back. If you want at this point, you could bring your hands to supportive blocks or books or all the way to the floor, but keep reaching over that imaginary ball. So there's just a little bit of something there that you have to expand over to keep the back really spacious. And just hang here for a few breaths. Feel free to nod or shake your head. Move a little bit from side to side. Remember, there's still that little ball there. Just kind of squishes a little bit one side. You can press it. And then the other side. One more deep breath here. And you inhale, you're going to slide your hands up to your shins or to your thighs, your preference. Reach the crown of your head forward. As you lift up, you're going to actually just release that ball. It falls away because now there's enough space there for it to move. And then as you exhale, you fold forward. If your belly and your thighs like to come a little closer together or your legs stay a little straighter, that's fine. Soften your knees, press into the heels of your feet, and as you inhale, roll yourself up to the sky. Maybe you sweep your arms out and up if that feels good. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring your hands down to your side, palms face the thighs. Roll your shoulders back. Maybe now your palms rotate to face forward. Stand tall. And then with your next inhale, bring your arms up over your head again. With your exhale, press the palms together. Fold all the way forward. And you can rest the forearms to the thighs to remember that ball, and then reach a little further forward. You can go one smooth breath all the way to the floor. Just remember a little bit of space between the belly and the thighs there, even if it's imaginary. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands might stay on the floor this time if you feel ready. And then as you exhale, plant your hands down. Step your right foot to the back of the mat. Drop your right knee to the floor. Take your hips a little back. Step your left knee next to your right knee. And then set yourself up for table, spreading your fingers nice and wide. Toes could be tucked or untucked. As you inhale, soften your belly. Lift your tailbone and your gaze. Cow pose. And then as you exhale, lift your belly, tuck your tail and your gaze. Cat pose. And just move at your own pace. Should feel really kind of just pleasantly stretchy. You can start to make it a little funky if you want, going side to side, bending your elbows. And really, we start with cow-cat, but you can kind of go anywhere from there if you need to move your hips backwards and forwards, side to side, circles, whatever movements from this table pose that feel good. I encourage you, if you're not sure, to close your eyes and just feel it. And yes, you should feel really silly. You should feel kind of foolish as you do this. Don't let your ego, your mind, stop your body from having an enjoyable stretch. Another deep, full breath here. Just finishing up whatever it is that you're working on. And you're going to guide yourself back to that table-shaped pose. Shrug your shoulders back away from your ears and see if you can set up that same orientation of the shoulders becoming flat on the back. So here usually what we have to do is find a little bit of lift in our belly and our chest so the shoulders can come back with ease. There's a little bit of, again, that engagement in the abdominals to help hold the shoulders and the chest. And then here, tuck your right set of toes under, reach your right foot to the back of the mat. Kick through your right heel, feel the back of your right thigh without moving your shoulders or your hips. So you're just kind of stretching the back of the foot. And when the back of the leg feels really long, lift that right leg up. And you want to think about keeping the right toes facing the floor, lifting the belly, and pulling the shoulder blades back. If this feels good and you don't feel any strain, you might decide to lift your left arm in addition to your right leg. And again, you want to do that same thing. Shoulders back and flat against the muscles of your back. You're hanging those shoulder blade pictures on the wall of your muscle. Take a few breaths and just feel the inherent challenge of keeping everything engaged as you do this. Last deep breath. And then you're going to place the left hand down if you lifted it up. Bring the right knee in towards the chest. Hug it in towards your nose. Lift your belly up and then get as close as you can. And then inhale, reach that leg behind you. You're going to go back to the center line with the knee. And then maybe you need to lift up onto your fingertips. Here you're going to step that right foot between the hands at the front of the mat. And then maybe you come a little bit forward into the hips. You can lift the hands onto the thigh and use the hands to press your belly up. Again, imagine that little beach ball is there and it's just helping you. It's expanding lightly as you lift your belly up. And again, you shrug your shoulders back. I like to bring hands to hips, but wherever assists you, again, to take your shoulder blades a little back and then relax them down. If you can keep that orientation, you're welcome to lift your arms up overhead. I find it's always helpful to have a little softness or even cactus arms to keep that space across the center of the chest. You can equally well just leave your hands on your hips. Maybe lean a little forward into the front knee. Lift the crown of your head towards the ceiling. Inhale here. As you exhale, you're going to fold forward. Bring your hands to the inside of your right foot. Tuck your left set of toes under. Lift your left knee up. And then start to walk to the long edge of your mat. Your left foot is going to turn to face the long edge of the mat. Your right foot is going to turn to face the long edge of the mat. Your fingertips come underneath your nose. If your heels are not in a line with one another yet, take a moment and step them into a line. And then what you're going to do is soften both of your knees. Your fingertips could be on the floor. Your hands could be on props here. You fold forward. Take a few deep breaths here. Enjoy. With your next inhale, lift up a little bit. Keep your knees soft and then walk over towards your left with your fingertips. Your legs are staying relatively straight here. It's not a Skandasana again, it's just a side bend. So your fingertips walk towards the left foot and then you bow your torso down. So again, you're stretching the right side of the body. If you need to bend your left knee a little bit to accommodate that, go ahead. You might even get a nice stretch in your inner right thigh if you try that. It's not a super deep bend and you don't need to sit towards the floor in this position. Now start to come back all the way to the front of the room. The right foot will turn to face towards the short edge of your mat. Your left foot will turn to face towards the short edge of your mat. You're going to plant your hands down underneath your shoulders and you're going to step back to downward facing dog. If it feels good to stay there, do. If you need to come back to table, go there, dropping the knees to the floor. If you've come to downward facing dog, you might pedal your feet a little bit or sway your hips. And again, I encourage you to focus on your shoulders. Notice what happens if you bend your knees and your shoulders or straighten your legs. Where do you feel the most spacious in your back? For most of us, it's having a little bit of a bend in our knees. Unless our hamstrings are uber flexible, having really straight legs mostly just puts strain on the back. I feel the strain as I do that in my lower back and also all the way up into my neck. If I bend my knees just a little bit and lift my hips, my back and my neck feel so much nicer. Take another deep breath here. And if you haven't already, you'll drop your knees to the floor. Leave your hips above your knees and walk your arms forward for puppy pose. Forearms to the floor. Or you can reach your fingertips even a little further out in front of you, bringing your forehead all the way to the floor. It's also perfectly good to bring a prop underneath your forehead if your forehead doesn't like to touch the floor. And now allow your shoulder blades to become an agent to bring the center of the chest further forward. So stay where you are, but what you want to think about is that your shoulder blades now, they're on your back, but now they start the inner edges of your shoulder blades to gently dip inwards and they're pushing the center of your chest gently down towards the mat. They're melting your heart. So you can really start to kind of let your arms rotate inwards. Your elbow eyes are facing one another as you come into this position. So you feel a lovely stretch across the center of your chest and into your armpits. You can have your toes tucked or the tops of your feet flat. See what feels good to you. And take another deep breath. And then to get out of this one, you're going to slide forward onto your belly. And as you come onto your belly, bring your hands underneath your shoulders. If like me, you came off the front of your mat, you can slide yourself a little backwards. Let your nose hover just above the mat. Tuck your elbows in towards you. It's like you're hugging your inner arms towards your torso. Press the tops of your feet down and start to lift towards cobra. And it can be just a nice baby cobra this morning. Again, now set your shoulder blades onto your back so the heads of the shoulders are lifting up and then drawing down. So you feel that space across the center of your chest. If it feels appropriate at that point, you can go a little bit higher, as high as is needed for your body. Take a full breath in your cobra. And then go ahead and release. And press yourself back. You could come to table or tuck your toes and come all the way to downward facing dog for a deep, full breath. And then walking, stepping or hopping, come back up to the front of the mat. Inhale, find halfway lift. Bring your hands onto your thighs, your shins. Find that imaginary beach ball. Little, I keep saying beach ball, but it's like a little exercise ball. Just sitting right here. And then as you fold forward, you fold over it. And you squish it a little bit. Belly comes kind of closer to the thighs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold and squash. Inhale, roll one smooth breath all the way up to the sky. Exhale, press the palms of your hands together, bring them in front of your heart. We're going to keep moving to the other side. Inhale, bring the arms up. This time, keep the palms of your hands a little bit wider, maybe shoulder distance or wider apart. I like to imagine now that I am actually holding like one of those big exercise Pilates balls that you would sit on at a desk. And then here what you're going to do is you're going to lean over towards your left. And as you lean to your left, that might feel like plenty, but maybe you feel like you can lighten up on your right foot. And I'm running into the wall, but you can keep leaning over to your left. You can lift your right foot out to the side. You can have your arms be quite wide here, like so. Inhale, come back to the center. Place your right foot down. And then lean a little bit to your right. And that might feel like plenty of stretch on the left side, but maybe you want to get a little more. You lighten up that left foot, or you even lift that left foot as you lean over to the right. Come back to the center line, press the soles of both feet down, reach up, maybe even look up, and then palms of the hands together, fold forward, forearms to thighs. As you inhale, find that little beach ball, reach the crown of your head forward. As you exhale, swish it. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, put your hands under your shoulders, step your left foot back, and then bring your left knee to the floor. Step your right knee next to your left knee, set yourself up, drawing your hands under your shoulders for your table pose. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. And you have just two more of each of those at your own pace. Your range of motion that feels nice to your body. Coming back to neutral as you inhale. Again, you want to set your shoulder blades onto your back and then draw them away. Find that little bit of lift in your belly. And it's again like your spine is growing literally longer as you align those shoulder blades against the muscles of the back and you engage your core. The crown of your head can reach forward and your tailbone can reach back, and you can actually create more space. You can kind of decompress the little discs between each of your vertebrae here using muscular engagement. That's the idea anyway. Stretch your left foot back behind you. And you want to just press through the heel of your left foot without moving your hips and your shoulders. Keep the shoulders aligned, and you just feel the back of that leg starting to lengthen. You feel the belly starting to engage even a little bit more. And then you lift your left leg. And you want to keep your left toes facing the floor. Your left hip is about level with your right hip. And you just hold. If you need a little more, you extend your right arm. And you just hold. If you need to create a fist with your left hand to create better stability, if your wrists tend to fatigue easily, please don't hesitate to do that. You may notice, I'm noticing that this side is just a little more wobbly than the other side. Felt very stable. This side feels a little more difficult. This shoulder is a little more fatigued. Whatever I've been doing with my left hand, which is my dominant hand. And it's a little tired. Inhale here. Drop your right hand down. This is your inhale. With your exhale, your knee comes towards your nose. Lift your belly up and then create that cat shape. Inhale, reach the leg behind you. And then exhale, take your knee out towards your elbow. Inhale, reach behind you. This time you're going to go over and across. And again, it's not very far because you're on your knees. It's like really hard. Your knee and your elbow probably will not get even close to connecting. That's fine. You just do your best. And then you reach behind. And then you're going to take your knee in towards your nose one more time. Set that foot up at the front of the mat. And I like to take my hips a little further forward. I find it's easier, but you might find the opposite. You might find taking your hips a little back helps you to then lift yourself up, hands onto the thigh, press the thigh away. Again, imagine that little exercise ball has just appeared and it's expanding now and it's pushing your belly away from your thigh. Shoulders can relax onto the back. And again, you pick the orientation of the hands that allows you to feel that kind of, I think of this as our super posture. Your chest is broad. You're wearing that super S on your chest and you're not hunching forward, you're not hiding it. You're not overly proud of it. You're like, I'm Superman, I'm so cool. No, you're just upright. You are strong. You are good. If you like, you can bring your arms into play. Just remember, you want to keep your shoulder blades against the muscles of the back. If you like to lean forward, go for it. You can always tuck your back toe under if that's more comfortable. Of course, add a blanket underneath the knee. And just hold here for a few breaths. Strong, tall, good posture. And you feel it. You feel that empowerment. It feels pretty super to have all that space for your chest and your breath and your shoulders. Inhale here. As you exhale, fold yourself forward. Bring your hands to the inside of your front foot. Tuck your back toe. Lift your back knee up and walk to the long edge of the mat. We're going for that wide-legged forward fold first, so heels want to be in a parallel line with one another. You can always angle your feet a little in or a little out for your own comfort. And your forward fold might be propping yourself up on blocks and reaching the crown of your head forward. That might feel quite lovely and long in your spine. Or you might feel that there's the flexibility at the back of your body to fold further forward. If that's the case, you can even reach around and hold onto your heels, winging your elbows out to the side to go deeper into that stretch if you like. Tiny bit of engagement in the softness of your knees, so no locking in the joint. Holding for a few breaths, just enjoying. And then you're going to press your fingertips underneath your nose, lift up a little bit so you can move easily over towards the right foot. And again, if you need to bend your right knee a little bit, or you like to bend your right knee a little bit, go for it. But it's not a skandhasa, it's not a squat. It's all about that stretch on the left side of the torso and the left upper hip. Go over with the hands. You can kind of bow yourself down. Feel free to use props here underneath your hands to make this feel like a really nice stretch. When you're ready, you're going to walk your fingertips back to the center line and then all the way to the front of the room. Left foot turns to face it. Right foot turns to face it. Plant your hands down under your shoulders. Step back, downward facing dog. Or if you need, table pose. And take a few breaths here. Again, see if you can find the spot in your downward facing dog where you feel delightfully spacious and stretchy in your shoulders and your back. Again, there's usually a little bit of light engagement in your belly. So your belly is lifting again away from your thighs. You can imagine that little beach ball has just appeared right here in the V of your body. Or I guess it's an upside down V. It looks normal because we're upside down. It looks not upside down. Take another deep, full breath. And then bring your knees down to the floor. This time we're going to go for a threaded needle. And you can take your threaded needle from your table pose or with your hips back and your knees a little wider in a child's pose. So see which variation feels good. I'm going to start with the table pose. You're going to take your right arm and thread it underneath your left armpit, like so. And if you're in this table pose, you can use your right hand to prop you up. You can reach it in front of you. You take your arm behind your back. If it feels preferable, the hips can go further back. I like knees a little wider there for space. And then you do the same exact thing with your arms. You can take them behind you if you want. See what feels comfortable. Hips lifted or hips dropped back. And allow the weight of your body to gently open up your shoulder. Now it's fine for your shoulder blade to feel like it's being pried away, like a clamshell being opened. Pried away from the muscles of your back. And just stretching all that adhering tissue. unwind yourself. Reach your fingertips out in front of you, and you can do the same on this side, or if you need to mix it up, you can lift or lower the hips. The left arm comes underneath the right armpit. You can look over underneath your armpit, or you can place your forehead on the floor, or even a prop here. See what feels again. Like you're just gently opening up that shoulder blade. As you're ready, you can unwind this side. Reach your fingertips out in front of you. You can rest in a child's pose here, hips towards the heels, or you could pull all the way forward and rest for a few breaths on your belly. Go ahead and walk your hands in towards you and bring yourself to a seated position. And again, you can take any comfortable seated position. I'm just going to turn so that I'm facing you. You don't have to turn unless you desire to. Feel free to sit up onto a prop of any kind here. You can even do this sitting in a chair. And then first, again, find that tall, straight, good posture where you begin to feel a little super, a little empowered. When you find that, you're going to interlace your fingers and take your hands just to the base of your skull, creating like a little cup back there to hold your skull. Broaden your elbows as you inhale, and then as you exhale, you're going to tuck your chin towards your chest, and the hands are just here to support your head. You don't press your hands into your head as you bring the chin towards the chest, and the rest of your body is staying in that good tall posture. So you're not rounding forward, your spine is still quite straight, except for the very top, where it starts to move slightly forward. If you like, you can imagine that your elbows are a little bit heavy here, but don't let them wing in just yet. You want to keep them open, but they're just heavy. They're trying to go forward as you stay tall. And take another deep breath. And now maybe you let your elbows close in like little butterfly wings. Be mindful that you're not pressing your hands onto your head. You feel your shoulder blades separate a little bit again. Keep your posture straight and tall. It's just the chin towards the chest ever so gently. And on an inhale, you open up the elbows if you let them close. And then pressing your head into your hands, lift yourself up. Till your gaze is forward. Release the hands down. Just feel that lightness in your head as you move back into that good tall posture. If you need to kind of wiggle your shoulder blades or roll them around to get there, please don't hesitate to do so. We're going to come all the way back down onto our backs. Go ahead and grab, as you do that, your blanket, and this time you're going to take your blanket and make a little folded up square. We're going to do a little supported bridge, so you can always use a yoga block for this if you happen to have one handy, but as we're using a blanket today, you just want to fold your blanket or your towel up at least a couple of inches thick, and when you press down, you want to have it so that when you put your hips on this prop, it stays kind of firm and stable so that you can use this to stretch out your body a little more. Set that down just beside your hips, and then sit facing the short edge of your mat right in the middle. Bring your hands behind your thighs, lift the center of your chest, roll your shoulders back here as you inhale, and then as you exhale, start to bring your spine towards the floor. First the tail, then the low back, then the mid back, the shoulder blades. You lie yourself all the way down, and you walk the soles of your feet in. I like to lift my hips and shift them down so that I have lots of space. And we're going to take one full bridge pose and one supported bridge pose. So for your full bridge pose, just reach down. You might want to be able to touch the heel of each foot with the middle finger of that hand, so feet are pretty close to you. Arms come out to the sides, press the palms of the hands to the mat. Relax your shoulder blades as much as possible, so as much of your shoulder blade is touching the floor as possible. And then pull your belly button to the floor, find that light engagement. Press your heels down and lift your hips. Feel the back of your neck gently lengthen. And stop lifting the hips at the point where your shoulders and your neck feel really good. You don't have to go particularly high, even if you only go a few inches, that's fine. If you feel like, oh, that feels fantastic and I want more, you could take your arms now up over your head, back to the hands to the mat behind you. Spend a few breaths. Inhale here. As you exhale, you're going to lower the hips to the floor. If you brought the arms overhead, they'll come down by the sides again. Take a moment here just to rest in neutral. And then when you're ready, we'll go back, but this time as you relax your shoulder blades against the floor and firm up your belly and lift your hips, you don't need to go very high because you're just going to take your prop, your blanket or your block, and slide it underneath your tailbone and let your hips rest down. And again, as you let your hips rest down, find a comfortable space where your shoulder blades are as connected to the floor as possible. Feel free to adjust your arms in any way to allow that to happen. And you might simply stay here. This is a really gentle inversion, the hips above the heart, above the head. But you could also add a variation. If you like to stretch your abdominals and your hip flexors, you could take one or both legs to the end of the mat for a little psoas release. In either of those positions, psoas release or bridge pose, you can take your arms again over your head, increasing that space at the front of the body. If you want a little bit more of an inversion, you could always take the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling for a little supported shoulder stand. Also really nice if your feet feel fatigued or your legs feel fatigued today. You can always play with your feet, rolling your ankles. Find the space that feels really nice for your body. A few more breaths here. You can stay exactly where you are, or you could try another variation if you have the desire to try a few different things. You have the time. As you are ready, the soles of your feet will come back to the floor so your knees point up towards the ceiling. Let your hands come down by your sides once again. And then you'll lift up your hips. You'll move your prop out to the side. Let the hips flow down towards the floor. Take the feet a little wider than the hips. Perhaps let the knees knock in towards one another. Lift your arms up, palms face one another again, and then wrap your arms around yourself. Give yourself a big hug. Feel free to massage on your shoulders or your upper arms if you want here. Arms up. Wrap the other arm on top and give yourself that big hug again. You could keep your knees knocked in, or you could take the soles of your feet together and let your knees now fall open to the sides. That feels nice. Stretching the inner hips and the low belly. Opening up your arms. Bring your hands down to your sides. You can use them to gently gather your knees in. And we'll finish off with a supine twist here. And you can do any variation of supine twist that you would like. You could draw your knees into the chest and take the stacked knees over to the side if you want. You could take the bottom leg long and the top leg over. Or you could take that kind of windshield wiper twist where the feet stay on the floor as the knees fall to the side. See what feels really nice, really lovely for the whole back, for the low back, for the mid, for the upper back and the shoulders. And just spend a few breaths there. It'll be a really delicious stretch in your spine. When you're ready, move your knees over to the other side. More variation of twist. See what feels just so lovely, so yummy. Bring your knees back to the center line. You could hug them in towards your chest if you like, rocking a little side to side. Or you could turn the soles of your feet up and take a little happy baby. If there's any other pose or shape that your body needs, you are more than welcome to add that in before making your way to Shavasana, your most comfortable resting place. Spot where your back feels relaxed and spacious. Does not matter what that spot looks like. Lying down, seated, curled up. If it feels good, it is the place to be. usual, if you have the time, stay and relax a little longer in your Shavasana. If it's time to move on with your day, take that big deep breath in. Maybe reach your arms over your head. Bring your fingers in and out, like squeezing those little stress balls, and you can do kind of a similar movement, wiggling your toes in and out. As you're ready, and roll yourself all the way over to one side to rest for a few breaths. You are making your way to your most comfortable seated position today. Whatever that happens to look like, feel free to use any of your props, of course. And here, you'll gather your hands in front of your heart. Yes, hello, Mr. Kitty. And we'll close with our deep breath together. In through nose, out through mouth. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice and your time with me today. Thank you so much, Ken, for your fantastic suggestion. I hope all of your shoulders and your backs feel a little more spacious today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. If you ever have requests or suggestions for class, feel free to send me a message on Facebook, via email or via text message, and I will get on it and make a class for you. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.